Now, for the theme of tonight's event, exploring and embracing AI. In a world driven by technology and innovation, staying abreast of evolving and emerging trends like AI is not only important, but essential for individuals, businesses, and society at large. Tonight, we are joined by a panel of 4 incredible women, tech professionals, AI enthusiasts, and DEI advocates who will discuss the enigma of AI platforms, diving headfirst into common questions that surround this rapidly evolving field. They will share their insights, experiences, and perspective, highlighting the important role women play in shaping the AI landscape, as well as the need for sustained efforts to promote gender diversity and inclusion in AI. Our hope is that tonight's discussion will serve as a guiding light, not only for acknowledging the power of artificial intelligence, but also for inspiring proactive engagement from everyone in molding its future. So without further delay, I'd like to introduce Jane Hilliard to the stage. She is our opening speaker and our moderator. Jane is the Senior Manager of Data and Analytics from Wind Waste Innovations, and she brings over 30 years of expertise to the tech industry. Welcome, Jane.
And thank you for the introduction. Welcome everyone in person and virtually. Not on. I put it on mute. I don't have the hardware. Start from the beginning, everyone. Thank you, Kelsey, for the introduction, and welcome everyone in person and virtually. As Kelsey said, my name is Jane Hilliard. I'm the Senior Manager of Data and Analytics at Wind Waste Innovations here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I have a passion for data and the value it can bring to an organization. Over my career, I've held roles as a software developer, database administrator, technologist leading data scientists, director of data governance, building out a data governance department, as well as a master data management. Sorry, that is to say, I've worked in every part of the data lifecycle. I believe in data's ability to inform decision making and act as a foundation for transformation and transformation and innovation. Data is gold in today's tech economy. Data transparency around its content and ownership are critical to building trust. With the rapid integration of artificial intelligence, these core tenets have entered the public's field of view as both an opportunity and concern. As women in tech, we need to keep up with both technology as well as our physical health. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, reminding everybody to get screened. And that's exactly what I did earlier this year. It took place early in the morning and I just rolled into the rest of my day. But by mid-afternoon, I received that call back. We want you for follow-up. Now, my second scan turned out to be benign, which is very thankful for that. But when I got that call, it's like time stood still and the vision of my future just looked completely different. I don't say this lightly, as I suspect many people in this room have firsthand experience or loved ones that have had a very different outcome. Coming out of this experience, imagine if AI was integrated in that imaging device and it could have given immediate feedback to that technician saying, refocus here or re-image in a particular area. My second scan, I mean, like that AI, it has the potential to improve our experience and give better outcomes, saving lives. Some of the common questions in this space surround data and privacy concerns. What sort of information is AI trained on? And who owns that data? Other questions pertain to the job market. What sorts of exciting roles or industries will AI transform? What sectors will become obsolete? Or perhaps, how can we improve the quality of our personal lives and professional lives with AI? They could become, or our largest industries like automotive or healthcare, how are they going to look in 20, 30, 40 years from now? AI is the development of algorithms or models that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, like problem solving, understanding natural language, recognizing images. It can handle tasks that are repetitive or complex or require analyzing huge amounts of information very quickly. AI is very good at pattern recognition and knowledge aggregation. My car senses the lines on the road and keeps me in my lane. It maintains the set distance from the car in front of me. It applies the brakes if the vehicle in front of me stops fast. That's a lot of information coming in all at once, really quickly, making lightning fast decisions to keep an accident from occurring. Quicker than I could. They say by 2030, it's expected that 1 in 10 cars will be self-driving. What if that AI was trained on driving data from the United States for a car in the UK? Would be a problem. What if the AI was intentionally built to ensure the safety of the driver exclusively? How would it handle that split-second decision? The car senses an object in the road. It has to decide, is it going to save the driver or is it going to save that object? What if it's a ball? What if it's a dog? What if it's a pedestrian? The car, so who makes that decision? Who's going to be saved by this accident? Who makes that decision? Is it the auto company that sold you the car? Is it the software development company that sold the auto company the software? Like, who decides that? Could it be a choice on your setup screen, like your radio presets? I don't have the answers to this. But in the coming years, I want us all to be part of that conversation. I'm sure you're familiar, or at least have heard of ChatGPT. It was developed by an AI research company, OpenAI, and it processes our natural human language. It generates a response. You can prompt it to generate code, rewrite a paragraph, explain a concept, create instructions, or utilize the tool as a co-creator or a virtual assistant. It's trained on huge amounts of data from the internet, websites, books, articles, technical white papers. As of October 2023, ChatGPT has over 180 million active users. Consider the ways in which we as consumers use ChatGPT to refine our LinkedIn bios. I mean, why wouldn't we? But utilizing it to rewrite our internal corporate documentation, is there some intellectual property we've just disclosed? Additionally, it's called a large language model. These LLMs may be trained on text data that contains gendered language or stereotypes, creating bias. AI is only as good as the data it's trained on, and the data is only as good as its content. If the data is incomplete or skewed, the AI will make mistakes. AI could answer your questions with biased results due to the AI having embedded commercial interests. Is the training data intentionally biased to ensure the AI responses increase sales for a particular company? Businesses and organizations may invest in AI with training data sets that are aligned to the business interests with the aim of generating profits or generating a competitive advantage. AI used for hiring may have bias due to historical hiring patterns. Women hold only 27% of all roles in tech and have historically been underrepresented in technology and engineering. AI systems trained on data from these disciplines have limited exposure to women's perspectives, contributions, career progressions, leading to bias in how the AI responds to women's ideas and achievements and resumes. The underrepresentation of women in technology is a critical issue that goes beyond the numbers. It's a necessity in achieving a diverse and innovative tech industry. That's not to say that artificial intelligence is something to avoid or fear. but by encouraging more women like us to actively engage in AI research, development, policy making, we can build AI technologies that are inclusive and ethical and responsive to the needs of all individuals. OpenAI, the organization behind ChatGPT, has not publicly disclosed the specifics of its training data sets. I believe these data sets must be transparent in order to be one step in combating bias. I have two daughters in their 20s that are in STEM, and I believe that they can achieve whatever they set their minds to. My hope is that AI is not an obstacle to their careers, but instead a tool for their professional journeys. I firmly believe that their healthcare experience will be vastly different than mine with AI-assisted scans. I hope all women in this room and beyond who have received that call back have a better experience. We, everybody in this room, have the opportunity to shape the future of AI. We can have safer roads, better healthcare outcomes, and more inclusive workplaces. As consumers, and especially women in tech, keep an eye out for bias and support the transparency of these training data sets. We need to embrace the future of artificial intelligence and become active agents in shaping it with equity as our guiding light. While we can't predict the future, we hope to explore these themes tonight and arrive at a place where we're better informed and more empowered to take an active role in the future of AI. And with that, I'd like to welcome up front our panelists, accomplished women in AI, Flo Nicholas, Lori Cagney, and Paige Yater. Okay. I will come to you. All right. Thank you for taking the time to share your perspective and your experiences. The first question, actually, let me start by asking you all to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Flo Nicholas. I am yeah, so I call myself a recovering lawyer. Thank you. So I spent about 7.5 years in telecommunications, which is kind of the old boy industry. And after, I was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not growing. I'm not developing. I'm out of here. So I took my show on the road, and now I am the co-founder and chief operating officer for DI Directive. We are a technology company that focuses on helping organizations implement their DI strategic plan. Instead of just saying, hey, we're about diversity, it's helping them actually be about diversity, taking the action, tracking their progress. So we are heavily data analytics. That's our platform. It helps organizations understand who they're hiring, who's leaving their organization. We also deal with compliance, EEO-1 forms, for example. And we're in the process right now of trying to figure out how we can embed generative AI into our software so that we can be able to combat bias and discrimination in the workforce of the data analytics platform. And when I'm not doing that, we'll create stuff on the stairs.
Just hold it close and hit the lights on. Thank you.
I keep hitting the mute button, I think. Well, okay.
Our online viewers.
Okay, good. Excellent, thank you. Hi, I am Paige Yater. Thank you. I am the Senior Director of Security and Engineering for Mainstay Technologies. We are an IT and cybersecurity firm based in Manchester. We do IT outsourcing as well as cybersecurity consulting and guidance. So My role really involves a lot of different things, but Mainstay as a technology company is absolutely in a position to be highly disrupted by AI. Anybody ever called support and got a chatbot instead? Yeah. Not at Mainstay, but maybe someday. So we are really on the cutting edge of this. We have created a lot of internal focus on artificial intelligence. We spend a lot of time talking about it, thinking about it, wrestling with it. There's obviously pros and cons, which we'll all talk about tonight. I'm excited to be here and having this conversation with you all. When I am not working, I am chasing my 2 teenagers all around New Hampshire as they play soccer. So if you ever need to know where there's a soccer field in New Hampshire, I know all of them. All of them. So yeah.
Okay, nice. And the best coffee places next to the soccer place?
I don't drink coffee.
Oh
my
no.
gosh. Wow.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Sorry. It's my fatal flaw.
I am Lori Cagney. I work in finance, and I also am an entrepreneur. I have my own business. For any of you out,
The mic's not working again.
No, just have to go closer.
I am an entrepreneur, and work in finance, and I am a techie from the time I could play Nintendo, and or if any of you know the original Magnabox Odyssey.com, if any of you are familiar with that. I have to give props to my first guru. That was my dad, and he's the one that made me a tech nerd. And I think he knew what women in tech were back from when I was about 6 years old. So he was a very smart man. I have, I made a promise to myself that when I had kids, I would instill what my dad taught me and inspire the passion and share my future, which I believe is technology. Right now, I'm using technology because I have a vision disability and I have a business. And in May of 2022, I had a COVID medical injury. I had a heart attack, and then after that, I had a concussion, which resulted in a TBI and a loss of vision. And after that, I used AI as technology to help me with my disability because I was in 5 different therapies. And in those 5 different therapies, I was able to use AI to become better. It was a year-long transition, and it was very hard and difficult and challenging to get where I am today. And if it wasn't for those specific technologies, I wouldn't be here. So that's what I want to talk about the positivity of technology. And yes, there are some challenges with technology, as Jane pointed out. But I had an amazing therapy team, great family support, work support, and AI was the platform that I use, and I look forward to speaking to you about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can people in the back hear? Because
Yeah.
So we got
project the voice.
Okay, I've got it working now.
Okay. First question is for each of the panelists.
Basically to me.
What
And
does
then,
AI mean to you as a
what was
professional,
your idea
and
to be
how do you use it?
to be like, and
Start
here
with
we're all going to
Paige.
dilute all of ourselves.
There you go.
Into a very
Okay,
large
I'm going to be really careful
proportion,
not to touch
right,
any
which
buttons.
nobody had ever done. And I was
Okay.
willing to give Francie out of
Okay.
my share, right? Because that's what I always
Yeah.
do. So you're like, no, we're going to make it equal. And I think a lot of times, sometimes people have a scarcity
It means a
mentality when you
couple
do business,
things.
right? You're
So-
like,
So first of
AI,
all, first thing,
obviously,
when someone has a good
I talked
idea, the
little
first
bit
thing they do
about,
is they
the
get
IT
stingy with their
industry
good
has the
idea.
potential to be
And,
significantly
it's like,
disrupted
I'm
by AI.
thinking the exact
So
opposite
it
way in
creates
my
a little
career.
bit
I
of
have
anxiety, but also a lot of opportunity. Depending on the day, you will find me talking more about the anxiety or the opportunity. I go back and forth. But it is really something that we have to wrestle with. It really is. There's a lot of really positive things. So for example, when we talk about the disruption in the IT industry, right, there's the opportunity for AI to take over entire segments of people's job function. Okay, well, if I said to you the part of your job that's menial and exhausting and makes you feel like you want to bang your head against the wall, AI could do that, that doesn't feel so bad anymore, right? Like, oh, half my job is going to go to AI, but if it's the half that sucks, like, what, right? I mean, that kind of feels okay. What can I do with that free time now, right? What can I, and I think people often associate, oh man, I didn't touch anything.
No, if the light's on, it's working.
I know it's blinking.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we good?
You good?
Okay. So I think a lot of people associate, this entire part of my job is going to go away. And I think what they translate that to is that just means my job is going to go away, not, oh man, that means that I have twice as much time to do whatever I want to do, right? I can level up my job. I can spend more time doing the things that bring me joy and excitement throughout my career. So, there's a lot that we have to think about. For me, a lot of it is, I have a bio that ChatGPT wrote for me, and let me tell y'all, I'm fantastic. ChatGPT thinks very highly of me, and that's when I knew we were going to be best friends. So you can use it for all kinds of things. I had to roll out a new program, and I had to write a policy, and I was like, look, I need to get this done. So I said to ChatGPT, I was like, hey, here's what I need to do. What are your thoughts on this? And it said, what about this? And I was like, I don't really like that. What about this thing? And we literally, you have a conversation with it, and it wrote this policy for me in probably 20 minutes. And then I spent 15 or 20 minutes editing it and fixing all the things that didn't make any sense. And then I rolled it out, right? It was great. So there's some efficiencies that we can gain. And so in my day-to-day, I use it regularly. I love having conversations with it. Google's not very, you can't converse with Google. But ChatGPT, you can have a full conversation. So, well, yeah, sure, yeah. But yeah, so I think, that's really sort of what we're looking at. We're trying to get ahead of it. We're trying to figure out how we can leverage it for all of the good things and how we can mitigate all of the bad things. That's pretty much how we're focusing on it.
Okay. Can we go here?
We have changed the battery, so we should be good.
Right.
Technology, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What AI means to me is that I can continue working professionally.
Okay, I thought so.
Go.
Dramatic pause.
Continue to work professionally. I can continue to create because I'm also an artist and I use AI as a tool to create art as well. And I use it, and I also use it to function physically in my home. So I can move and I can be who I am. I've used it in healthcare. I can be a person. I truly believe that if it wasn't for technology, my therapy would have lasted at least 2 or 3 times longer than 1 year that it took me for rehab. I mean, that was 5 therapies. And it took 1 year of hard physical work. I mean, it was brain cognitive rehabilitation. So that's thinking like AI, brain to eye, brain to speech, brain to legs and arms. And if it wasn't for AI and integrating Alexa with, I use Bard. If you don't know what Bard is, it's Google's AI, and it's still an experimental phase. And I'm a beta tester for AI. I've been a beta tester for AI for about almost 9 years now. So it wasn't new to me, this technology, nor to my kids. So they helped me integrate AI into my computers because my doctor said to me, you cannot use your technology anymore. So to me, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I've been techie for the majority of my life. And for you to tell me, no, you can't use your tech anymore, that was like, no way. I need to figure out a way for me to use this because my life is not ending because I can't see. My life on a computer screen is not going to end. So I need to figure out a way for a computer to talk to me, for me to talk to my computer. So how is this going to work? Google. So reach out to Google Research. Google Research, help me. Google research helped me figure out how the AI was going to talk to me and how we were going to superimpose the data, how my data, my voice was going to get into an AI, how the AI was going to talk back to me so I could walk around my room, and how I was going to talk and work at the same time. And that's how AI can work with me professionally, how I keep my job, keep my income as a single mother of 3 kids, and how I can keep that and support them and have food come into the house. So I don't lose my job as a woman of tech, right? I have a finance job and I need to keep working. And what does that mean? I need numbers, I need to talk to my clients, I need to write emails. So I needed that AI to work. I needed to generate incomes, but I can't see the email coming in. So I needed to use that component of speech to tech so I can have my words right. And I integrated that all on my own, figuring out and doing research. And I use it every day. So that's the second component of the question. I use it every day from morning to night. And how do we use it? We use it in music with Spotify. We use it in Alexa when we talk to her. We use it when we turn on devices, when we say, hey, Alexa, turn on the lights. That's AI. We use it on Netflix when Netflix pops up what we've used the next day. That's AI algorithms. We use it when we answer back and forth. We use it when we find recipes. We use it when we want to find just about anything. So we're using AI every day in the car. So when we don't even realize that we're using AI, we're using it every day to support ourselves and to carry us through the day. It might be a little scary to think about what's coming up in the news, but realize if you type in and start searching and using AI and the benefits of AI, how it might help you, it, starting to use that, I'm getting ahead of it. I'm sorry about that. But that's how I use it every day.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Hello.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll hold it for you.
So I'm gonna let you guys know how I use AI. I had a call from a young woman about 2 weeks ago. She goes to UNH Law School. And she said, listen, I'm going to law school, but I don't want to practice as a lawyer. What do I do? Where can I work? I'm like, oh, have you heard of legal technology? No, I haven't. So I proceeded to tell her about legal technology, where essentially we have a lot of legal tech companies that are creating legal solutions for lawyers, contract management tools, contract lifecycle management tools. And a lot of them are starting to get embedded with AI, which we'll talk about later. But she said, I don't know how to fix my resume. What do I do? Have you heard of ChatGPT? And I said, here's what you have to do. Go to ChatGPT, look for the job, and which I helped her find a job. I said, we're going to ensure that your resume is going to have the keywords that will help you get noticed. Follow my instructions, because ChatGPT and AI is about the prompts that you give it. So it spits out, right, the text that makes sense. Within 24 hours, she got a job interview. She's now on her 3rd interview, which I recently helped her last week to prepare for. My mom is a nurse. She called me. She's like, hey, I want to apply for this job. I have no idea where to start. Guess what I said? ChatGPT. Within 2 hours, 2 hours after following my instructions, she got called for an interview. Right? So what AI means to me is time saving, right? Efficiency. I'm a content creator. I'm on social media a lot. And I have a mommy brain, okay? For those who don't know what that means, is sometimes I am dumb, okay? And I can't remember because my kids drive me crazy. And when I say my kids, that includes the husband. Right? So sometimes I know what I want to say, but it's coming out gibberish. So I'll go into ChatGPT and say, hey, make me sound smarter. Right? Make me sound fantastic. Like I actually know what the hell I'm talking about. And I use it to generate my content, but I'm a little different. I will tell it, right? I'll provide the prompts and say, here's what I want you to say. And then don't make the mistake of just cutting and pasting. Actually read the stuff because it might be wrong.
Yes.
Right? It might be wrong. So I make sure I review it. And again, some people would say, oh, it sounds so robotic. So I add a little flair of myself, right? I make sure it sounds like me.
Mhm.
And there are other tools out there besides ChatGPT that are more personalized, that have personas, right? That will be able to go to your website and pull your about us, your mission statements, so that when it does create content, it sounds more like your business, right? If your business is, doggy daycare, you want it to sound like doggy daycare, not cats, right? So, and there are companies out there, right? But from a legal perspective, what excites me is the fact that a lot of people don't know what the hell is going on. They don't even know how to enact regulatory on it because it's coming at such a fast pace, right? We're like, what we know today, I am not going to know tomorrow. And that's why I personally refuse to call myself an expert, because the information is rapidly changing. And this is why I'm an advocate for promoting early childhood STEM education, which incorporates AI. Because right now, when it comes to investing, what I'm hearing as a startup from our executive mentors is AI, that's what investors want right now. So our kids, that's the future. And that's why they need to learn how to use the tools, good or bad, because they need to learn good tech hygiene. Thank you.
Okay, next question is what sorts of security and privacy concerns do you have, Paige specifically?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So you guys have all heard about cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need, if you didn't, nod your head, please. Just, okay. So the interesting thing about cybersecurity and AI is that cybersecurity and the attacks that we're seeing in cybersecurity aren't actually all that different when it comes to AI. The difference is that they happen rapid fire and can happen at a pace that we've never seen before. So the challenge is, it's like, if you think about like a dripping faucet, right? Cybersecurity attacks, email attacks, right? They're like a drip in the faucet. This is like full on faucet, both hot and cold. Here we go, right? That's what's happening with AI, and that's sort of the very basic summarization there. And so if you don't have the right security layers in place, you're gonna find the cracks, right? The water is coming and the cracks will show. So you need to make sure that your security layers are all in place, that you have multiple layers of defense. In addition to that, with AI, what's interesting is, we're seeing people who are using AI, and there's a lot of new privacy concerns, right? There are people who are saying, oh, I want to change this policy, right? Jane mentioned this. There's a policy, I'm going to upload my company's entire policy. Can you help me rewrite this? Well, if that's your intellectual property, then you probably shouldn't have put that in ChatGPT, right? You don't want to make that public, right? People are, putting things like, resume information, right? And there's all kinds of information that people are uploading. I keep hearing people say, oh, I uploaded all of my medical records and asked it for a diagnosis. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Are you okay? Like, okay. And they're like, it was great. It really helped, and which is fantastic, but also, are you kidding me? So there's a lot of things to think about, and people don't necessarily put those two together. They think, oh, I want to see how far ChatGPT can go. I want to see how far I can take it, which is super cool and exciting. But at the same time, you have to be really careful. And from a corporate perspective, you have to be really clear about what your organization thinks is acceptable and not acceptable. We also recommend that all organizations start thinking about what that acceptable use policy looks like and what tools you can and cannot use, because there are There are tools out there that are not good. There are tools out there that are risky. Not all AI is good AI. So you have to be really thoughtful about it, and people often get really excited about sort of the new shiny thing, and they want to click on everything, they want to try everything, and only after the fact that they realize, like, oh, I just uploaded our entire cybersecurity plan to the World Wide Web. So those are all things to be thinking about. As leaders in organizations, we want to be thinking about acceptable use, and really just starting to talk to your teams about this, and just help them understand. Like, think about what you're doing. Think about the data you're using. Think about where it's going. Think about where it's living. All of those kinds of things. And from a cybersecurity perspective, just get ready because it's coming. Yeah.
Do you want to talk?
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing, with ChatGPT, I think they did catch the heat when it came to how when you are inputting data, they will use your data to train the system. So they did come out with a setting, which I think some people don't know about, is you can turn that off. You can say, don't use my data to train your software. And what we're also seeing is an abundance of other companies, especially fintech, financial industry, who are starting to actually create their own generative AI systems. So it's in-house, and it's trained on their own data to kind of eliminate and diminish the potential of data corruption. Or, the cybersecurity, it's always you can't eliminate threat. It's always when it happens, are you ready, right? And do you have the cybersecurity policies and procedures in place? I think with anything, right? We wake up, we get in the car, we take a risk, right? Every day we take a risk. And it's the same thing with using AI, is you've got to understand the risk that you're taking. How many people see those little cookies, right? When you were surfing through the website and it says, hit accept, reject. How many people actually read those? Okay, very few. You see, case in point, the risk that we're willing to take, right? So it's the same concept, is that you have to be aware that AI is good and that AI is bad. And when you are using it, especially for work, and it's happened where companies have had their engineers upload their source code, and it's now on the dark web getting sold. So now there's a lot of companies that do have a AI guidelines. So you've got to be aware what your organization's AI guidelines are. If you are ahead of an organization, you might want to consider implementing AI guidelines, especially when it comes to your employees using any type of AI chatbot or whatever with your company documents, policies, procedures. So again, remember, all you got to do is go to the settings in ChatGPT and make sure that it's not saving your chat history. So that's my take on that.
Just out of curiosity, does anybody in the room work at a company that has sent out a policy usage for ChatGPT? All right, not 50% of the room. Just to note that.
They will today.
They will today. Yeah, tomorrow we're all going to get emails. Okay, the next question is, what are the benefits of AI, and how can we use AI as a driving force for innovation?
Okay. So immediately I've written down there are so many benefits of AI. And I have to keep it short. So feel free to talk to me afterwards. So I think I touched upon this earlier, using your home devices or smart devices, thermostat, lighting, security cameras can automate this to optimize home settings, enhancing, how you live at home. Voice assistants, which helped me tremendously, but helping the generation of people who live at home, aging, even in hospitals and clinics, to help with tasks, answer questions, health monitoring, AI wearable devices that monitor vital signs and detect irregularities, personalized entertainment. I think I touched upon this before. Netflix and Spotify, learning and education. So AI offers personalized learning experiences through adaptive learning. So part of AI is it's adaptive, meaning that it's constantly learning from human experience. So the data on the back end of AI means that anytime you put a prompt in, which is what Flo was talking about, how you prompt that AI is how it's going to respond. I use Bard, so I love talking with Bard. Whatever prompt I put into Bard is how, and I've always connected Bard with a she. So anytime I talk with Bard, she talks back to me. So any prompt I put in is how our day is going to be. So whether it is how is your day today, Bard, or Bard, I need a recipe for dinner. I'm thinking about steak. Can you put a recipe together for me? I don't know, whatever you prefer. That's how I talk with Bard. And then we prompt it from there. And, it's how that's going to happen. Recently, I wanted to change Bard's voice, because right now it's male. I wanted to change Bard's voice to female and British. Because that's what I wanted. Bard couldn't do it because the language learning model wasn't there yet. They haven't changed it. Now today, I noticed that they had an upgrade, but I didn't want to do it because I had all these notes and I didn't want to mess up my cat. So I didn't want to go through the whole process of it because it's annoying. So, you get the response as Bard saying, I'm not able to do that yet, or whatever the data says. And so in experimental or beta, which is what I do a lot, is that you put with Bard, it's thumbs up, thumbs down, and then you give the data response and how that is. You can write as much information as you want, and that's how the developers learn on the back end, which is so important because it's the human aspect of it. And if we don't, as beta testers, do this, then how are the developers going to learn to teach AI? So on my end of this, it's cooking and shopping, energy efficiency, cleaning, remote work, which so many of us, I continue to work remotely for health reasons. I wouldn't be able to work remotely if it wasn't for AI. And elder care. Elder care is so important. AI-powered devices. And one of the things that I was thinking about was wouldn't it be great because I have issues with mobility. I can't raise my arms higher than this. Okay. Now, I've been watching Boston Dynamics forever with my youngest. And we were watching the robot dog, AI connected, whatever, because it's cool. And other human robot, which is cool. AI and robots, very cool. So wouldn't it be great if an AI, because I don't have anybody to zipper me up or anything, wouldn't it be great to talk to a robot and say, hey, could you just zipper me up here? Or hey, could you help me with this jacket? Put it on, because it's very difficult when I'm home alone to do these sort of movements. It's very hard for me to straighten the back of my hair because I can't do it and I can't ask anybody else to do it. My mom is the sole caregiver for my dad who has Alzheimer's. She's 81, my dad's 85. And for her to turn him for self-care, wouldn't it be great to have an AI robot and to help her and her to say to this, AI robot, like, hey, could you help me, take bowl or lift this 175 pound person? The future of AI is exciting. It's amazing when we think about it. And we have the opportunity to give feedback to the developers. I use right now, I'm in development and beta testing for marketing. It's called Style AI, and it's on my website for SEO and keywording and blog. But what I do.
Okay. Right. Okay. No, finish your sentence.
Okay.
Finish what you're saying.
But what it does is at the end of the week, I can go in and I can go on the back end and change anything I want. And then give feedback to the developers. And what I notice are things like demographics, if the picture doesn't have, the right amount of people, or if the keywording is off, or anything that I notice, if it's great, if it's not great, and I give that feedback to the developers so they can change their AI, which is extremely important to the development of all AI.
Thank you.
We're doing questions now?
I think it's Q&A now.
Okay. What have we been doing up to this point?
More Q&A, but questions from the audience.
Got it.
Right, not my candy dandy cards. Yes.
So on Monday, I'm starting a new job for Copyright Clearance Center, and they're talking about all the changes for copyright law with AI. Can you talk to that a little bit? If you can repeat
Yeah,
the question.
Yes, copyright law.
Right. So essentially she's asking about all the copyright issues going on with AI. So that's one of the things that kind of sucks right now, right? Is that especially with ChatGPT, OpenAI, that's really who is getting sued. Is OpenAI has several lawsuits from authors and other artists claiming copyright infringement. And one of the things that happens with AI, it's got to get trained. Where in the world is this data coming from? And some artists are saying, they're stealing our stuff and we're not getting paid. And meanwhile, they're making billions, right? So right now, the Copyright Office has come out and said, listen, if a machine made it, you can't copyright it, right? So the Copyright Office is saying it needs to be human made, right? And there is actually someone who had recently gotten a copyright done and they had it taken away because they went on social media of all places to brag. And the Copyright Office said, thank you, we will take that back. Right now, Microsoft actually has come out and said that they will financially back up any of their users that have a copyright infringement case against them for using the Microsoft software. I'm wondering how long they can sustain that.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a whole lot of coin. And right now, the legal community is kind of watching to see what happens with the cases with OpenAI. They're still pending. There has been no verdict, but those are the challenges of using AI and their training modules and where the data is coming from and if they're infringing upon other people's rights. And right now, there's really no legal guideline in terms of a nationwide AI regulation. We do have some states kind of issuing some AI guidance, like for hiring, for example. New York is a great example of where they have implemented law that says if you are using AI for hiring, we want you every year to audit your software, right? The EEOC, everybody knows what EEOC stands for? Okay, the EEOC recently settled a case by an ed tech company claiming bias and discrimination used by AI. That is the first case to be settled. And the EEOC said, listen, everybody, companies, if you're using AI for recruiting and hiring, and we determine that there is bias and discrimination in your software, you cannot hide behind the software vendor. You can't. you need to be aware of what you're using. It is your responsibility to question your vendors and ensure that you are still in compliance with employment laws. So if you're using and they're cool tools, if you're using AI for recruiting, beware that you cannot hide behind your vendors. You need to be aware exactly of what you are using. There is an AI law tracker out there. Shoot me a DM on LinkedIn if you really want to have it. But there is a tracker that is tracking the laws around the states that have been implemented, whether they pass or they don't. There is a tracker right now that is available if you're really curious to see which states have already implemented some form of AI guidance. But the biggest thing that is at issue is the bias and the discrimination and the copyright infringement issues. It is a huge issue. So the short of the long is that still pending, right? But you just have to be very cautious and be aware that, like Microsoft was like, hey, we'll pay for your lawsuit. Not everyone has Microsoft, bank account, right? So you got to really ask those tough questions to your vendors about how they're training that model. Where are you getting the data from? I think we said earlier, OpenAI hasn't really shared, but that data is so massive. The amount of data that's used is huge. So I don't know if we can really ever fully understand each and every piece. In the EU, if your company does business in the EU, be aware. They have very strict guidelines, and we don't want to be caught with your pants down, especially if you're doing business over there.
We have an online question. We can.
Okay, so Flo, you kind of started to touch on this, but how does and this is for each of the panelists, and Flo, maybe you can even add on some more. How does the integration of AI affect women, people of color, and other underrepresented groups in tech through means of job security and hiring practices?
It's tough right now. There are a lot of everybody's seen, like at one point in time, everybody had a new headshot on social media, right? And you're like, wow, I just saw you yesterday. You didn't look like that. But one of the things that's happening is that, and I've had this happen to me where I'll upload my photo into like an AI image generator, and I come out a different color. And part of that is the training modules that are being used are not very diverse, right? So they're not implementing a variety of pictures of women of different shapes and sizes. And there's some women, that were like, hey, I had a double chin, but now, it doesn't look like me, right? So those are some of the issues that we're seeing with the AI. And as you can see, AI is like a toddler, right? It's still being trained. It still doesn't fully understand, some of the commands, right? But I think with that's on the human side of the house, right? We got to make sure with this data that is being trained on, that we're incorporating people of all different shapes and backgrounds so that when Flo uploads her photo, she's not going to look like Bill, who happens to be a white guy, right? So those are some of the issues. Now, in terms of the hiring aspect, I kind of covered that because, the case I just mentioned was actually an ageism case. It was a group of people that were over 50 that were applying for a role with this company, and they kept getting rejected. And one of the applicants said, I'm going to change my birth date. And now she was less than 50, and guess what? She was able to get the interviews. I know, I saw your face. It says it all. So those are some of the issues that we have to deal with, and I think that's why we're seeing states like New York have tougher laws when it comes to hiring. especially for organizations that are using AI systems, to say, hey, if we start seeing, and even the EOC has said the same thing, if we start seeing an abundance of these cases, we will investigate and we will come after you. So again, it goes to organizations to ensure that you don't have the new shiny tool syndrome and you're just buying without vetting. You gotta vet the AI and ask those tough questions before you implement them.
Thank you, Flo. Another question from the audience? If you don't mind.
Do you know of any AI cybersecurity tools available for consumers currently?
I think this question might be geared towards Paige.
Well, that's a small question. Okay, so AI cybersecurity. So I would probably venture to say, this is based on absolutely no actual data, so just bear with me. I would venture to say that the vast majority of cybersecurity tools out there have AI involved in them somehow. There's AI embedded in all of these tools. Like I said earlier, a lot of the attacks that we're seeing are the same kinds of attacks that we've always seen. So as of right now, the same kind of defense layers still work. Knock on wood, right? And so, you know, any of the security layers that we're looking at, so not to get, you know, too deep into the tech, but if we talk about like endpoint detection and response, the best part about endpoint detection and response is that it's better than antivirus in that it can look at what's happening on your machine, recognize, hey, this doesn't seem right. Joe shouldn't be creating 1,000 emails a second. Like, let's stop that, right? And it can actually take action. And that's all, a lot of that is AI driven. A lot of that is the artificial intelligence, right? If you have a log monitoring system, it can look and it can say, oh, Paige logged in from New Hampshire at 8 o'clock this morning, and then at 8:15 logged in from Phoenix, and at 8:17 logged in from Singapore. Like, that seems weird, right? Let's stop that. So I think a lot of the tools already have AI built in. What they're doing though is only so limited. They're basically taking an initial action, and then we need humans to take over, right? So the next iteration of this is, okay, now I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna stop this. Now I'm gonna dig into it. I'm gonna iterate on it, and now I'm gonna remediate it. And then I'm gonna give you a report that says, here's what I did, we're good, right? We're not there yet, but I think almost all of the security tools at this point have some level of AI sort of embedded in them.
So fun fact, I actually just created a course, AI for cybersecurity.
Did you?
Last year. So yeah, no, you did good. But I mean, I know IBM, when I was doing research, IBM has been working a lot on using AI for cybersecurity, automating the detection. Like you mentioned, the anomalies, being able to quickly notice, like, yeah, you were in Singapore 5 minutes and now you're in Russia, something is going on. So AI, because there's only so much one cybersecurity expert can do, right? Especially when you're working for an organization that's got, 30 to 40,000 people, it's hard to be able to, be really going through everybody's emails and where they're going on the websites, right? And that's where the AI component is good for being able to manage vast amount of data and people in your organization. And not to mention, I mean, how many people are just using one system in your organization? Very few people, right? Everything now is integrated. Oh, does this integrate with that? So now, just as employees, we're literally working on 10 to 15 databases just to do one job. So one person cannot really do cybersecurity monitoring 10 to 15 different databases, right? So that's where the AI component is going to be good. But there's a lot of AI cybersecurity startup companies, but I know IBM is really invested in doing AI for cybersecurity. And hopefully your company, should be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have another question?
All the way back to Literate.
Thank you.
Hi there. As a professional writer, I'm really interested in hearing who owns the content that ChatGPT produces and who's policing that content. So for example, if somebody, I write websites, but if a company decides, I'm just gonna use ChatGPT, they go and ChatGPT writes a website. Who owns that and how's that policed?
Thank you. Jane, do you want to take a stab at this one?
No,
Okay.
it's not me.
Okay.
No, I mean, I have no idea. They're ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They're not claiming where they're.
I think there's not an answer,
Yeah.
which is part of, so like traditionally our legal system, even in the cybersecurity space, our legal system has really struggled to keep up with these innovations. And I think your question is like, it's at the heart of it, right? Like what does this actually mean? And in a lot of ways, we talk about AI as if it's a tool. Like if I need to dig a hole in my backyard, I'm gonna grab a shovel, right? A shovel extends my ability to dig a hole, right? AI has the potential to make the decision that I need to dig a hole and do it on its own, right? This is a whole different thing that we haven't really fully wrapped our heads around as a society. And I think your question is sort of at the heart of what a lot of people are struggling with, right? Like what does this actually mean, and who is responsible for this, and who has ownership? And right now a lot of people are just like, I mean, we gave you the tool. What you do with it is on you. And there's a lot of really hard questions that society is going to have to answer as we navigate this.
And according to the. You say that because I feel like I've asked this question to a million people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't actually know.
No.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you're asking the chat GPT to create the website name and to create the writing? Is that what you're saying? So from the copyright law office,
Yes.
you don't own it and you can't copyright it because you did not create it.
You did not create it, but who does own it? Who's going to come after?
Well, no one's coming after you because you can't copyright it. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody's waving.
I'm a prompt engineer.
Oh,
and
yes.
Open language right now is OpenAI doesn't claim any of the or any of them. So anything that you create within that space is legally or like they were saying, if it's against sort of anything, the responsibility comes to you. So if you use it to create a website, that is your weapon. If you use it to write an article, that is your article. And you're held responsible for that if something comes. You can't hold ChatGPT or any of those artificial items responsible.
But you can just slap your name on it and say, this is mine.
Yeah, well,
Nobody's going to argue with you.
that's the problem. For those of us who work in those fields, we can understand. We start to see. We can tell that something doesn't have a human voice. We can tell it was populated by a ChatGPT. So that is really, as we're changing and sort of growing, it's learning to recognize that, right? Like blog posts is a big one. Social media. That way that we're kind of writing and learning and trying to learn how to juggle and just like the legal rules. But as of right now, anything you create with AI, personally, it's yours.
What? I'm scared.
It's yours to a certain extent because that's the problem.
For whatever you produce.
Right. If you go to the copyright office and saying I had ChatGPT create this, right? If you listen, I'm sure there are so many blogs that are going up right now and nobody is announcing that, hey, my ChatGPT wrote this for me. If you're not making the mistake, and again, I'm not, advocating, that you just write things that are not yours and then go try to sell them. But at the end of the day, is this: who's gonna know, right? If you create it and you're not making that announcement, who really is going to know? And that's the problem, right? And that's that tricky gray area of you're creating out of ChatGPT, but what are they doing? If somebody, because here's the thing: when you're using ChatGPT, especially if you don't shut off the "don't save my history," some of the stuff starts to get repetitive. If for anybody who uses ChatGPT a lot, you will notice that it sometimes tends to spit out similar information. So who else who is using ChatGPT is getting that similar information? Are there going to be two books that are similar, and then you both try to publish them? Right. So there's still a lot of unknowns. I want to make it very clear that there is no one right now who fully understands the legal ramifications, copyright issues, trademark, you name it. It's still a gray area, and we're all learning. I feel like it's one of those things we're just learning as we go.
Hard time to be a high school English teacher.
It's very difficult.
So my son is working,
and I'm a prompt engineer. I love AI, and I support him using it. However, I support him using it, but it is also I monitor. Like, it's really supposed to be. This is a great resource, and this is the future of resources. Like, my son grew up with a phone in his hand. I didn't. I mean, my generation, we went through evolution of all the technologies. I mean, I remember the 30-foot cord, and I had a rotary phone at some point in my grandparents' house. But understanding that this is the future, and this is going to be a way that they're going to be using resources in the future, we want to make sure that those children, especially you're a teacher, using it responsibly, using it safely, using it as we grow, and really understanding that it's a resource, it's a library, it's Google. It's better than Google because it talks back, right? Have that conversation, but just monitoring that and being safe, but encouraging the youth, encouraging the idea that it's a great resource for all of us, and just accepting that it's going to come with challenges. With anything else.
How many educators are in the room? I'm curious. There's one. So you say you're an English teacher?
I'm not. I just
Okay, so guess what? A lot of schools use AI to combat AI. Yeah, they use AI to combat AI, right? Just like job seekers, they're using AI to beat the ATS system.
But are they using it to teach critical thinking skills in school? I mean, that's what's really needed. I mean, this is what everyone's saying is stop and think, but I don't think our kids have been taught that.
So how to use AI to use critical thinking?
Well, no, I think that teachers need to be human teachers and watching, like you're monitoring your kids, you're teaching them saying, oh, notice this about this, notice that about this. I mean, critical thinking skills are essential.
Right. No, I believe in critical thinking, right? And I think there is a misconception that AI is dumbing down like how we think, and I don't believe that's true for 1 minute, because there are many levels of components of how AI is being used, right? And we forget the one important thing. AI is trained by humans, right? AI is trained by humans. Humans who are innovators, humans who are using critical thinking, and the same humans are our little people, our kids, because most jobs now are requiring somebody who has technology skills, which includes having AI skills, right? But it's not just a thing of, I get it. AI, we're saying automation. We're going to automate this so you don't have to do it, right? I get it. There's some things that, honestly, we don't have to do, right? And you don't want to do it either. I know I don't. But there's still some elements of this innovation that does require critical thinking. This innovation did not drop from the sky. Somebody created that, which required critical thinking. AI data sets and algorithms, that requires somebody with the knowledge to train. You have a prompt engineer right over there. She's not just, sitting there and it's easy stuff. It requires a lot of processing and input and command. So we got to remember that critical thinking is a huge element. It's not dumbing our kids, right? It only will dummy people if we just say, you know what, we're just gonna have the AI do everything, and I'm just gonna go watch Real Housewives of OC.
So I will just add really quick that, and we haven't really talked about this, but if you haven't heard this term before, so AI can hallucinate.
Lie.
So it can make stuff up, right? Like it can. I'm trying to be kind. You heard me. You wrote me a really great bio. I need to be friends. Okay, that's right. So, but it can hallucinate, and it can give you information that's not actually true. There was a story that came out a while back about an attorney who looked for precedent, and I don't even know the full story, but pulled something from like a John Grisham novel or something as like an actual case, and then he presented it to the court and looked like an idiot. So these are real things that are happening, right? AI can hallucinate, it can make stuff up. You can get complete nonsense. If you've ever asked it to, I went into one of the image generators, and I asked it to create a logo for a specific program that we had, and it came back and it was like not even real letters. Like it could not give me the actual letters. It was quite funny actually. I was like, let me see how far I can take this. But so it does hallucinate, and as soon as people start getting comfortable with the fact that what you get back might be complete gibberish or it might be complete nonsense, people will start to apply that critical thinking just out of sort of self-preservation, I think.
I'm
you
gonna
know.
piggyback on you.
Yeah.
And say some really important facts here are your involvement. It is so essential for you to be involved. Once you start, clicking back here the question. Department of Defense has a really great website for cybersecurity. Get on it. I have all the websites. If you want to see me afterwards, it's fantastic. DoD.defense.gov. Wonderful. Stanford, MIT, and Carnegie Mellon are all doing research on AI and on cybersecurity. They're on top of it. And this research goes out to all the big AIs that you guys know about. And they're not only researching cybersecurity, they're researching the latest in technology development, AI plus other tech development. They are way ahead of the curve. And what they need is the feedback from everybody, from humans. So the humans and what you put in on the front end of AI, they receive on the back end development. And that is the most important and critical element because the AI needs to learn. And what the AI learns is important, and that is factual evidence. If the AI doesn't get that factual evidence, it's the false information. And that's what you were talking about, is the mumbo jumbo, and we don't want that mumbo jumbo or the hallucination. And just yesterday, Biden just implemented a wonderful project that's going to be happening in 32 states in tech development and resources. For I think over 32 different states for tech development, which is woohoo! Let's go and let's get this going because it's fantastic and it's wonderful news for AI and other tech processes, and it's just incredible. And I know and I understand that cybersecurity is huge. That cybersecurity in general is huge, and AI is coming fast and strong. But get on DoD's website, follow DoD on all social media. Social media is
And they'll
key.
follow you too.
And they'll that's just inevitable. It's inevitable. But what it is it's a good resource. And follow as much as you can. So Women in Tech, Girls Who Code, National Center for Women in Information, Technology, NCWIT, Women in STEM. Follow it all, and that information will come right back to you. I use Google Bard. I really don't use ChatGPT 4. Alexa, Style AI is a beta. It has an app. It's pretty cool. Appen is amazing. It's a great platform. Notion, Paragraph AI, Midjourney, Canva, Adobe, Spotify. I have a ton more. There's just a lot out there, but human interaction is key.
Thank you so much, Lori. Before we go, I'd like to see if there's one last question from the virtual audience. Taylor, anyone or no? Oh, do we have enough time for one last question from the audience or?
I think we're running out of
Okay,
time.
that's fine. Thank you so much. A round of applause, please, for all of you ladies. You ladies did a terrific job tonight. It was absolutely fantastic. And thank you for all the questions from the audience, too. I can tell it's a hot topic and one that people want to talk about for a long time. So I'm excited to see how we harness the power of our artificial intelligence as a society in the years and the months to come. So thank you, ladies, again.